Through the personal stories of those on the front line comes a new film that explores the most critical issues facing Hawaii and the world.
If we want to be sustainable, we need to watch where our water is going. You're taking water away from growing food. We got to get serious.
I was invited to meet with the Hawaii Rural Development Council to discuss ways to help educate the public on some of the issues that they are working on. Probably one of the most important issues facing rural communities in Hawaii is agriculture and making our food supply more sustainable. So we decided, well, let's focus on the food policy of the state and how we can shift from 85% of our food being imported to much more food being produced here locally. The Hawaiians had 1 million people living here, and they were able to grow enough food to survive. And if we can take their knowledge and bring it back to grow our food here locally, we have the land, we have the water, we just have to make that shift. We have to make that decision to change the policies.
Answers to how we're going to survive is in the culture. It's in us.
I was very fortunate to have the Hawaii Rural Development Council behind this film, and they put together the funding to go to all the islands, and that enabled us to go out to those remote places and to meet the farmers, and Hawaii Rural Development Council made that happen.
If I jump in my canoe and I paddle for an hour, I can turn around and I can see it. I can see a limited resource.
It's coming more and more to light how sort of nationally the food system is broken.
A number of civilizations have developed their best ag land, and we can point to different examples back in history where civilizations have failed. Over the last 50 years, over 50% of our prime A and prime B land has been developed. We're clearly in a crisis.
So what we wanted to do was to make something that would inspire people. Set out to find powerful personal stories of farmers and educators that have made those decisions in their lives and are dedicated to finding solutions. And I was so lucky to meet so many amazing people all over the state. And it was life-changing because there's so many great ideas and so many people doing it.
We challenged ourselves and we said, oh, let's grow it organically. Let's just try, you know? You start with one patch at a time. Stop spraying one patch. Stop giving the chemical fertilizer one patch at a time.
This is the time to do what I'm doing, and what a lot of the other farmers are doing is just going for value-added products.
People are just going to have to call them. So you know what? I want local. And just over and over, I want local, and people probably don't realize how powerful their voices are.
It's up to the consumer to support that, to say, yes, I'd rather buy produce grown in Hawaii.
I don't think it's too late to save this industry. There seems to be enough water and land here to feed our people.
Some of the stories were really pretty emotional because you have farmers and ranchers struggling to keep their farms alive. It's their whole livelihood, it's their being. And they're being forced off their land by people that value the land as a commodity for real estate. So we've lost 50% of our ag land. And if that continues, it'll be gone within our lifetime. All the ag land will be wiped out.
Save the ag lands. The governor says it. Every year in the state of the state, we're going to protect ag lands. Where? When?
Well, access to land and water is going to be one of the biggest challenges because land is not valuable in farming. It's more valuable in taking ag to land and putting $1 million houses on them.
The concern is when push comes to shove, do we irrigate the food crops and forget about the non-food crops?
This is not touchy-feely stuff. This is life and death. This is the future of our people.
Here you have these great, inspiring stories of these farmers that are holding on. And one of them is Ed Botello. He's accomplished a miracle by being one of 2 of the last dairies in Hawaii. He's done it with free-range cattle, and it's very successful. There's stories like that if people realize that there's farmers that are able to produce our own milk, to produce our vegetables. We don't have to buy food from the mainland.
If we're cut off from the mainland, our food supply, we're in big trouble. We're in big, big trouble if we're in for an extended period of time. We will not be able to feed our people.
You read the paper every day and you're just inundated with these things that just make you feel like overwhelmed. but to have places where you can come and say, well, this may be the case there and this may be, but here, we're going to do something.
Most of the farmers are over 60 years old. We have to begin educating kids to be inspired to get into agriculture. Seeing these little kids at school gardens, you know, one of the teachers says, the real seeds of hope are the kids, the children, the next generation of farmers that are being inspired by growing their own gardens at school. But after they grow the food and they realize where it comes from, they love to eat the healthy green lettuce and spinach and greens and tomatoes from the garden now because they grew it themselves. So they're changing what they eat, and they want to become farmers now.
Through participation in this program, young children can see that farming is a really great occupation. You're supplying food to your whole community, something that's very important for our islands, for our whole state.
The way people can get involved, to see the film and to learn more about it is going to the film's website, seedsofhopethemovie.org. Everyone can make a difference. Planting your garden, supporting the protection of ag lands, buying local. We hope to get this into the hands of the leaders of this state, the legislature, the governor, and they hopefully will see them film and they will wake up and save our ag land and help farmers.